You're watching 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House, East Tennessee's #1 post-game high school football show. Live on location from the biggest game of the week. Live interviews from the winning coaches and players, along with highlights from other games around East Tennessee. Your hosts, Jesse Smithy and Kevin Smith, with decades of experience covering and coaching high school sports, along with the 5-Star Preps team, will update you on games as they become final and will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5 Star Live.
Welcome in, everybody, to 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House, Round 2 edition of the TSSAA playoffs. I'm your host tonight, as always, Jesse Smithy, joined on set by Elizabethan wide receiver, defensive back Jake Roberts, number 17, Blue Cross Bowl MVP in 2020, and certainly had a big game tonight. But I want to lay out the show for everybody tonight. We are in the second round of the TSSAA playoffs, as previously stated. Few upsets tonight. We've still got some games ongoing, and we're going to get to that tonight. We'll get the highlights of this game, Anderson County versus Elizabethan. We'll get the highlights of Alcoa versus Gatlinburg-Pittman, and much, much more as we go through the night. But as I mentioned, we got Jake Roberts up here from Elizabethan, and they win tonight 45-7 over Anderson County. And Jake, this is a team that you guys saw midway through the regular season. They had just lost their starting quarterback, so they were probably kind of meandering out there offensively. What did you guys expect tonight out of Anderson County the second time around?
We expected a lot of running the ball, trying to throw the ball right down the field, trying to get us on our heels, but I'm super proud of our defense. Our D-line, our linebackers really showed up tonight. I think that showed. What
was the key to you guys offensively? It seemed like you guys just did what you wanted to offensively there in the first half. I know you had a couple of touchdown catches, and what did you guys see out of them defensively that kind of made your eyes open up and say, okay, we can take advantage of this?
Personally, I love seeing man coverage, because that means I can do my thing out there on the outside. And, Bronson gave me a couple good balls tonight and trusted me and put it out there. It really worked, but our run game was going great tonight. Our O-line was getting great pushes. All around good performance.
When you look at the stats for Elizabethan, say last year, the year before, they're more prolific in terms of throwing the football. What's been the challenge this year in terms of generating offense for Elizabethan? It seemed like, though, you guys got better as the year went on doing that.
Yeah, losing guys like Parker Hughes, Braden Hawley, like guys that have been here a while, it took us a minute to get our feet back under us, but I think we're really getting the hang of things, and we're starting to play really good.
And I mentioned this on our website and even on radio today. I feel like people have just forgotten about Elizabethan because you guys lost to Greenville in the regular season, and everybody's been pinpointing Greenville. Even though you're the 2-time defending state champions, you almost feel like you're the underdog?
Oh, yeah, we definitely have the underdog mentality. We talked about that going into the playoffs, and it's really what gave us this extra boost. We're going to take it in next week to Greenville.
Mm-hmm. In terms of seeing Greenville again, when you look back to the first matchup in the regular season, what went wrong that night against them, and what do you think you guys need to do better?
Really just tackling, wrapping up Gudger, making plays out there. But I think we're starting to get our stuff together, and I think we're going to do fine.
In terms of your future, I know things have been difficult with COVID and the transfer portal, and you had such a big year last year, another big year this year. How are things for you individually, maybe looking ahead to the future?
No, they're going pretty good. I've got a few looks, a few things I'm looking at, but it's going pretty good.
Any basketball offers? You set like a program record last year in basketball, right? Like single game. Look, I can't remember the number. 46, 50, 46. So to have that kind of dual sport mentality and have that kind of success, somebody's got to pick you up, though, right?
Hope so.
All right. Well, I know Kevin Smith, my co-host, likes you a lot. He's going to break down some film on you and stuff from the first half and speak well of you. But Jake, man, thanks again for sticking around. Congratulations on the win. And I know it's a long bus trip back, so we're going to let you get on out here. If you want to, you can go ahead and drop the mic on the chair and get back in the locker room. And congratulations on that win. We'll go ahead and get Kevin Smith in here as we break down this win. That was Jake Roberts, number 17, senior wide receiver, defensive back for Elizabeth. And again, he was the 2020 Blue Cross Bowl MVP, had a big game that day, and certainly been one of the the cornerstones of this program over the last couple of years, and as they try to go for a third state championship, they will play at Greenville next Friday night in the state quarterfinals, a rematch of a game that Greenville won 42-12 in the regular season. But Kevin, as I bring you on the set tonight, what went right in the first half for Elizabethton that just made them almost put Anderson County away early?
Well, I think first off, the defense came out firing all cylinders for Elizabethton, shut down the run game for Anderson County, completely took them out of the run game, and Gavin No, which is what they hang their hat on, and then they had to try to throw the football, and it just wasn't their night throwing the football. And then the running game for Elizabethton was really clicking with the running back and the +1, the quarterback running the football, which is very hard defensively to stop, which only opened up the pass game. Anderson County had to go man coverage, and Jake Roberts, my man, and Mr. Rollins was throwing it over the top. Two really good balls early in this game, for 40-plus yards on both touchdown receptions. They were phenomenal right in his bread basket. He did a great job of getting away from press man coverage and making a play, and that's what we saw. And once that happened, Jesse, those first two touchdowns, it just really snowballed from there.
When you look at Bryson Rollins, the quarterback at Elizabethton, I mean, he's as a senior, he's now 40-1 all-time as a starting quarterback. Over 1,000 yards rushing this year, over 1,000 yards passing, and he's done that pretty much in each of the last 3 seasons. When you watch him play, you don't say, wow, that guy's an SEC quarterback. But what you do say is that guy knows the open spaces and where to roll out to and where to get his yardages and where his kind of safety valves are in terms of where he can run and pick up. He's just a knowledgeable, savvy quarterback, and you cannot put a price on that in high school football.
No, he's very deceptive. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the quickest guy, but tacklers fall off of him. He's slippery. He finds ways to keep his legs or keep scrambling on the backfield and find open receivers downfield. Those are really nice deep ball. Finds guys that are open, stays heady, very difficult to tackle. He's a thick young man. He brings a lot to the table for this offense, and when you can +1 a defense with the quarterback run game and then also have Cade Russell, the running back number 5, who's also a very good football player, it opens up things for Jake Roberts, and they got a couple other guys out on the edge as well that can make plays. It was also a very physical offensive line tonight, Jesse, that opened a lot of holes. And, man, 2 really big H-back/tight ends, Bradley Cannon, number 80, and Mason Ball. These 2 guys were very impressive, leading up in the hole in a kind of a fullback role, old-school fullback role from the H-back position. And then at tight end, inline tight end with their hand on the ground, really closing down that edge and washing people, the defensive ends, down, because Anderson County, Jesse, coming in this football game, Gavin No, a lot of people know him for his running back prowess, but he's a really good defensive end, as well as Zach Shannon. And they were really able to neutralize those guys tonight and get the edge and allow their runners to get out in open space.
Let's go ahead and take a look at this game. Of course, Anderson County in 27 and 2018, they lost in the state quarterfinals to Greenville, and into Greenville in the last 2 postseasons in the second round. And coming into tonight, to beat Elizabethton, I thought they'd have to do a similar formula to what they did against Carter. Scoring on defense once or twice, maybe grinding out 14 to 17 points offensively, and somehow using that kind of grind out with Gavin No's style to control the clock, control the pace, and they just weren't able to do that. Elizabethton offensively just did whatever it wanted to. That's a touchdown pass. You'll see an alternate angle here with Jake Roberts, who, as you can say, he loves seeing man coverage, and he's just an experience. He's going to win that battle every time.
Yeah, he's a good athlete. I'll tell you what I really like about Jake Roberts. Number 1, he makes plays in the pass game. Number 2, he's starting on corner every play, shutting down Anderson County's wide receivers. And then you'll see later here, they had a little swing out pass to one of his fellow receivers, and he pancakes the DB to allow that young man to score a touchdown. The man did it all tonight. He blocks, he tackles, he catches the football. He also did a great job at punt returner, getting good field position for the offense. I thought it was a really overall good game for him. And this interception right here actually kept Anderson County in the game. They were down 14-0 and immediately fumbled the football. And getting that interception, Elizabethton up 14-0 with the ball on the plus 18-yard line to go in. Anderson County kept themselves in the game, so I want to give their defense credit. They were able to kind of hang in there, and then the kickoff return coming right out of the half. We said it. They got to score coming out of the half to even be in this ball game. They did that with a touchdown return on the kickoff. and they just couldn't get any offense going, man. Elizabethton did a great job on defense.
Yeah, it was 28-0 at the half, and it could have been worse. Like you mentioned, that interception that Anderson County got really kind of kept them in it for a little bit in the first half. And then every coach talks about this in the half. We're going to come out, we're going to score, and we're going to stop them on defense and score again. This is Garrison Terry on the 86-yard kickoff return. That's exactly what you want. You only expended maybe 14 seconds off the game clock. You then force a pretty quick punt out of Elizabethton on the ensuing series. And right now it's 28-7. If you can go down there and score again, you could possibly get back in it, but they just could not run the football. They could not throw the football. And that's a lot to put on the shoulders of freshman Cody Miller.
Yeah, and again, they gave themselves life right there. They got the punt, but they could not run the football. Elizabethton's D-line and linebackers were having a great night tonight, getting off blocks, being physical. And then that's when Bryson kind of took over. Bryson Rollins had 2 big runs there on that second possession of the second half, and then it was capped off by Cade Russell for a touchdown, then for a 4-yard touchdown run. Again, the running game of Elizabethton opened up things outside for Jake Russell. They had to go man coverage, and of course, Jake Robertson, and obviously like seeing that. And then the run game was able in the second half to just punch the clock out and get them out of here with a win, and move on to the next round.
Elizabethton versus Greenville will be at Greenville next week in the state quarterfinals in Class 4A. Both of those teams know how to get it done this time of the year. Greenville won it in 2017 and 2018. Elizabethton's won the 4A championship the last 2 years. Should be a lot of people at that game.
That's going to be a fun game to watch. That's going to be championship programs battling it out. I think, Greenville's obviously super explosive. They got guys in the right spots to make a run. I think, Elizabethton's going to have to play defense like they did tonight. It's not going to be quite it's going to be really hard to shut down the passing game or the run game of Greenville. So they're going to have to really get in and get that film and get a great game plan against this Greenville offense.
Yeah, Jake Roberts said they got him wrap up Mason Gudger. Mason Gudger's the running back from Greenville, Mr. Football semifinalist. Fulton did it for a half tonight, kept him to 22 yards in the first half. You can't keep that guy down for 4 quarters. He ended up with 135 yards rushing tonight. Greenville won easily over Fulton tonight to set up that rematch in the third round.
Well, and you know what he does really well? He gets involved in the passing game too. Screens, getting out in the open field with swing passes. That's what makes him so dangerous, and that's really where Elizabethton's going to have to key in. And then when you key in on him, oh, by the way, they got a guy that can throw it over the top.
Yeah. That's Kevin Smith. We're going to get to our first break tonight, and when we come back, we're going to look around the area, keep you up to date on the wins, the losses from the second round of the playoffs. We'll take a look at some highlights as well. Even have a Waffle House hotline interview scheduled maybe in the third segment tonight, so we'll keep you up to date on that. But don't go anywhere. This is 5 Star Live presented by Waffle House.
Coker Rental Company is your hometown go-to spot to rent equipment and tools. We offer fast delivery on late model, low hour, boom lifts, excavators, tracked skid steers, scissor lifts, and more. Coker Rental Company prides itself on great customer service and providing the best equipment and tools at a reasonable rate. Give us a call today at 865-457-1478 and let us be your go-to rental company for your next project.
Men's Grooming Studio is Knoxville's premier barbershop, conveniently located in the center of K-Town. Tapered will have you feeling and looking your best. We offer walk-in appointments, and we specialize in haircuts for both young and old. Our master barbers will give you the best haircut you can find in a style that is unique to you. Come and see us today or check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Welcome back to 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House, and it's the big show. I mean, great drone footage there by Jeremy Kidwell using Jared Kidwell's drone. I think there's been some talk about that tonight, but man, it's pretty cool what they do.
No, they do a really good job. We've talked about it now last year and this year. For a high school football player, they've got the big floats, they've got the smoke coming out, their crowd is really into it, the fireworks. I mean, it makes you feel like a college atmosphere running out for this football game. I have chills watching it, and I'm not even playing in the game, Jesse, so I can't imagine a young man 14 to 18 years old running out for this show.
Yeah, a couple years ago, I actually gave a GoPro camera to one of the reserves that I knew wasn't going to play, and shout out to that guy. I'm not trying to hurt his feelings or anything, but I gave him a GoPro and said, just hold this throughout the whole thing when y'all run out into the field. And I got to watch the footage later on. It was pretty cool. But yeah, tonight I had a little emergency. I couldn't go to like the first quarter and a half of the game, and you guys all stepped up to the plate tonight and got drone footage and highlights and just everything. So shout out to the 5 Star Live team tonight.
Yeah. And my man Daniel getting the thumbs and fingers going on Twitter. Very good job there. So, everybody's got your back, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, but they sent me that drone footage on my way up to the game, and I watched it. And you talking about getting chills. It was connected to the Bluetooth inside my car, so all that music that Jared had pumped in there, I mean, it had me hyped to get up here to the game. And, the fireworks and everything is just something special that they do here. One of these years, Anderson County's going to get over the hump, and they might set the whole town on fire with all the fireworks that go off that night. So it's going to happen.
It's a great show. I mean, It's really cool. Again, it's worth coming to see, and it's a good football program. Again, a program that's right there. They just got to find the way to get over that hump.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get to some games tonight, and we just got one that went final. Farragut High School, a 4 seed, still in the playoffs. They beat Bradley Central tonight, 27-24. Of course, you remember last week they won in double overtime over Science Hill, a number 1 seed. And this Farragut team, something happens when they play against Bradley Central. Let's go all the way back to week 1 of the 2020 season. Farragut opens with a 25-21 win over Bradley Central. They meet again in the second round of the playoffs. Bradley wins that 17-14. This year in the regular season, Bradley Central kicks a 41-yard field goal as time expires to win by 3 points. And then tonight, Farragut wins by 3 points. It's just what you grow to expect when these two teams play. Sometimes if you put Farragut's talent up against Bradley Central's in a tail of the tape, you're going to pick Bradley Central. But sometimes, and I want you to speak on this as a defensive coordinator, sometimes there's just teams that just match up well with you, and it doesn't matter what you scheme out. It's just they kind of have your number a little bit. I feel like Farragut has Bradley Central's number.
They do. A lot of times, yes. There are certain schemes that can bother you defensively and offensively. There are certain teams mentally that you just can't get out of your head. Bradley Central's thinking, man, second round, and we really hope Farragut does not win that first round game. A lot of credit to Farragut, man. They have had a brutal schedule this year. They've been up and down. Some games they probably should have won. Some games that they won and maybe could have lost. Offensively, they've got some playmakers and can really put some points on the board. Defensively, they keep battling and getting better and better. But congratulations to them. This is a big win and something that Bradley Central is just kicking themselves having to play Farragut continually.
Farragut, out of 12 games this year, 9 of them decided by 7 points or fewer.
Yes.
9 out of 12 games. 75% of their games are going 7 points or fewer down to the wire. That's a lot for a coaching staff to handle mentally. It's probably fun for the kids to talk about when they get older, but that's a lot of stress they're putting on their coaches.
Yeah, I mean, you're each week. It's kind of like a, it's there's no relaxing. You can't even take a breath. But I'll tell you, they're battle tested, obviously. So you're seeing that. We've talked about it, and you can't understate this. That you're 0-0 when you start the playoffs, Jesse, and when you've been battle tested, and sometimes that hard schedule that you played all year gets you ready for the playoffs, and we're seeing it right here. It's not your typical 4 seed, a team that's been in a lot of big games, a lot of good atmospheres and crowds, and they have come up short, and they've been able to find ways to win a couple of those games. Now you're seeing it in the playoffs coming to fruition, and now we're talking about a Farragut team as a 4 seed sitting in the quarterfinals.
Farragut at Maryville next week. I think everybody's going to expect Maryville to win that football game by a lot. They've been to the state semifinals in 21 consecutive seasons. Maryville wins tonight 49-0 over Westridge. And this is a Westridge team that's brand new, a consolidation of multiple Sullivan County schools up in the Kingsport area. And in their first year of existence, they make it to the second round. They ran a wing tee, and for Maryville, it's a nice little tune-up for them. It's not going to be the same caliber at Oakland. Everybody knows that, but still, what does that do from a defensive player's mind point or whatever of getting in the right kind of mind frame to face Oakland in 2 weeks?
Well, I think number one, it's hard to simulate in practice as your scout team. So to have a live game where you get to go out and practice it all week and then see it live on Friday night with the speed of the other team, that's really going to help them down the road. It also helps with your eyes and what you're reading and your keys. And defensively, that's the biggest thing you can do against the wing tee. You got to have your eyes in the right spot. You got to make sure that you're reading the right keys, because it's all deception. And so this is a big tune-up for Maryville. And I'll say this, I think it's good for them next week too. I mean, this Farragut offense can present them some problems. And I think for a Maryville team, they need to play a 4-quarter game and get all their guys to have to play that entire game, stay in shape. But to be able to see the wing tee, now see a little bit of spread, it's going to be good for them as they get into the semifinals, and then if they are able to get to Oakland in the semifinal.
Alcoa, the 6-time defending state champion in Class 3A, hadn't had to play a lot of football over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Teams canceling on them because of COVID, breaks in the schedule for a bye, and then, of course, the first round bye essentially because Johnson County got COVID. And got some highlights of their game tonight. I mentioned all week long that I thought Alcoa would come out kind of ticked off and mad that they didn't get to play. It's exactly what happened tonight. They win easily over Gatlinburg-Pittman, 63-0. We see Jordan Harris get going right there, number 9, a player that you and I both respect and like a lot in terms of just being that next level guy. Caden Buckles just had a fantastic night throwing the football. See Elijah Cannon there, number 7, getting into the end zone. And big number 6, one of my favorite players is called Eddie Salter. Get on your horse, Eddie. Get into the end zone. He's laboring. He's laboring to get down the field. Ultimately gets in there. Just a big night all around for Alcoa.
Well, and you see this again. This is a physical offensive line for Alcoa. It's a very stout defense. A lot of playmakers all over the field. What makes them special, in my opinion, this year is Caden Buckles. Again, he's a +1 offensively. He can run the football when they need to. Have quarterback run game. You can see his leadership on this football team. He can throw the football over the yard to great players. And I've really liked what the offensive staff has done this year with Jordan Harris, moving him all over the field. He's in the outside receiver. He's in the slot. He's in the backfield. They swing him out. They give him the football, running the ball. It's really cool to see an offensive staff when they have a player like him, an Alvin Kamara-type player, that they're actually using him and moving him around. Very difficult for a defensive coordinator and defensive staff to come up with a game plan to stop him. Really, really nice player and worth the price of admission.
Alcoa will face Pigeon Forge next week. Pigeon Forge in the state quarterfinals for the very first time. Congratulations to Scott Meadows. He was on our playoff preview show there in week 11, and so maybe some good karma coming his way, being on 5-Star Live. But they run the football so well at Pigeon Forge, and they did it again tonight, knocking off Unicoi County 24-0. So hats off to Pigeon Forge. That's hard to do, to go into a Sevier County school that hasn't been that successful. You got Big Brother GP over there and some others in Sevier County, and to go back there to Pigeon Forge and get them to the third round, it's a big accomplishment.
Well, absolutely, and obviously it's great when it's the first time in school. So you always remember that. We're the first to ever do that. I'll tell you this though, that they're going to need that run game. They got to keep Alcoa's offense off the field, and they got to shorten this football game. I could see them literally waiting until about 1 or 2 seconds left on the play clock to snap that football. But if they can shorten this game, get some first downs, and keep Alcoa's offense off the field, that'll help them stay in this football game. They're going to need it.
Maybe fake some injuries, Ole Miss style, just anything. Just dig into all the bag of tricks that you can find. All right, let's go down the list a little bit more. Up into 1A, Cloudland knocks off Oakdale. Of course, Oakdale got its first ever playoff victory in program history last week. They had to make that long trip up to Cloudland. Dude, I couldn't even tell you where Cloudland is. I know it's way up there in the mountains in upper East Tennessee, but if you took my phone away and said, all right, you go to Cloudland High School, I would probably end up in West Virginia somewhere. But it's a long trip, and it was a demanding task for Oakdale to go up there and win. But hats off to Oakdale for a great season. Coalfield wins easily over Midway. This was a 7-point game in the regular season. Midway can really throw the football with Emmett Hegland and Caleb Goodman at wide receiver. And Coalfield, I think was out to prove a point tonight that we're here for the playoffs. We're here for these 1A playoffs, and we're not going to get upset by anybody.
No, and I mean, again, it's a program that's used to winning. They know what to do. They're a championship program, and they're surviving and advancing and showing people what's in store.
In 2A, we had a couple upsets. South Green and Meigs County were kind of on a collision course to meet again in the state quarterfinals. Meigs County had eliminated South Green and Mr. Football finalist Luke Myers, the quarterback from South Green, multiple years in a row. Both teams get upset tonight. Oneida, 35-21 over South Green. You remember, Oneida had a really good team a year ago, but went 4-6 and then lost, I think, in the first round of the playoffs. They lose their beloved head coach, Tony Lambert, who's an assistant coach in college now. And here they are with 9 wins in the state quarterfinals. We talk about defying logic. This defies logic.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think a team that had a great running back, had Mr. Everything, head coach leaves to go to the University of the Cumberlands, and now here they are marching into the state quarterfinals, and huge win for them tonight. I mean, there's 2 good football teams that get upset in 2A.
Yeah, they'll go to Hampton, who won 47-18 over Rockwood. Tough go for Rockwood. It's been an up and down season. They started off 1-3, something like that. Get it all together. Then they start losing quarterbacks, and they're playing with Jaden Hannibal at quarterback, who I wouldn't even call him a 3rd or 4th string. He's just an athlete that they had to plug and place back there at the quarterback position. So that was a tough ask for them to go on the road tonight, win that football game, but they end up losing. But the other upset in 2A, Meigs County loses against Trousdale County. Is it an upset because it's Trousdale? No, because Trousdale is widely regarded year in and year out as one of the top 2A programs around. But Meigs County was expecting to go to the state championship. They've been the last 2 years. They lost to Peabody, who dropped down in classification, down to 1A. So what does Meigs County say? Okay, this is our chance to get to Chattanooga, where the Blue Cross Bowls will be this year, and try to get that championship that has eluded them for decades and decades. And then they lose a tough one, 16-8 to Trousdale. Trousdale, they beat in the semifinals the last 2 years, 3-point game. So we knew it was going to be a tough one, but I don't think anybody expected it tonight.
No, and I mean, we go back and talk about championship programs, Jesse. Trousdale County is one of those championship programs, one of the all-time great programs in Tennessee high school football history. And with them playing so many times over the years, they know each other so well. This was a very competitive second-round game. I mean, both teams are thinking, why are we facing each other here in the second round? But this was tough. This is a tough one for Meigs County to swallow, because you're right, Peabody dropped down. They've had a great year. They're expecting to get all the way. And then here we go. Here's Trousdale County on our schedule. So good win by Trousdale County. Championship programs, tough for Meigs County.
We're going to take a quick breather and get to another break here on 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more results from the area, start to preview some state quarterfinal matchups, and tell you what happened with all of our Division II teams here tonight on 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
East Tennessee, the foothills of the Smokies, beautiful lakes, Friday night heroes, and one red light small towns with more life than any big city, where orange and white is displayed. Yeah, the one and only home of the Tennessee Vols, but also the home of the 134th Air Refueling Wing Volunteers. You might catch us in the beautiful skies of East Tennessee, flying the time-tested, irreplaceable, world-traveling, aerial refueling KC-135. Yeah, you heard that right. We refuel other aircraft while traveling the world at over 30,000 feet and 500 miles an hour. The amazing thing is, that's really not the 134th Air Refueling Wing's greatest strength. Our greatest strength is our airmen, our warriors, who have answered our nation's call. Guardians of freedom and justice, not only in our beautiful hills, but worldwide. They are our sentries and avengers, defending our country with their lives. They are the best of us, wingmen, leaders, and warriors. And you best believe they will never falter or fail. Flying, fighting, and winning. They are American Airmen and Tennessee Air National Guardsmen. So what are you waiting for? It's time to join the hometown team. Visit GoANG.com or call 1-800-TO-GO-ANG.
You're watching 5-Star Live. East Tennessee's #1 post-game high school football show. Live on location from the biggest game of the week. Live interviews from the winning coaches and players, along with highlights from other big games from around Tennessee. Your host, Jesse Smithy, with decades of experience covering high school sports, and his 5-star preps team will update you on games as they become final and will break down region outlooks and what's to come for your favorite football teams and top players. Now, get ready for the most comprehensive high school football coverage in Tennessee on 5-Star Live.
Welcome back to 5-Star Live, presented by Waffle House. And again, thank you to Anderson County. It's the second time I think we've been up here this year. Always great hospitality. Letting us sit inside was so clutch tonight.
Yes, I can't. We just talked about it off air, being inside. Thank you, Anderson County. And they do a phenomenal job of hosting us and letting us be out here, and especially inside tonight. And
I want so bad to go pet Ella, the dog who retrieves the tea. I have crazy pet allergies now. I never had pet allergies growing up, and now I'm old. I got pet allergies, so I kind of have to keep my distance and admire Ella from afar, but she did a great job tonight. And I just thank you again to Anderson County for letting us use their facility. It's hard to keep the lights on when your season comes to an end. You want to go ahead and turn them off, cut off that scoreboard, and just kind of flush the memory and start looking ahead to next year. So thanks for letting us keep the electricity on for a little bit tonight here as we go through some more playoff results. Let's move back into 3A. Loudon wins again tonight easily over Cannon County. That's a team they should have beaten. Cannon County, only 2 playoff wins in its entire history. It got its first last week for the first time in 42 years. And so that was a Loudon team. We're going to talk with head coach Jeff Herrig coming up in the next segment. But it's a Loudon team that continues to win and looks like they're on a collision course to see Alcoa maybe in the semifinals.
Well, and it's one of those wins that it's how you win. I mean, they came out and handled their business the right way in a dominant fashion. And this offense, again, I don't think people understand what they're doing, the numbers they're putting up, the quarterback is putting up. This is a team that can pose some problems as we move forward in the playoffs.
Into 4A, we've already talked about it a little bit, but Greenville and Elizabethton will rematch there in the quarterfinals. It's going to be one of everybody's games of the week next week, and a lot of interested eyes. The last 4 state champions in Class 4A go at it. Let's move into 5A. Central wins tonight easily, 41-7 over Daniel Boone. They will rematch with West High School, who, oh, by the way, won easily again, 42-13 over Davy Crockett. If you remember in Week 11, West just put an absolute beat down on Central. It was 49-0 at the half in a hurry in that Week 11 game. What do you feel like Central maybe needs to do differently this time around? We didn't get to see that game, but you've seen both teams this year. What do you feel like Central has to do to win that football game?
Well, if Central cannot establish the run and become pass heavy and one-dimensional, it's going to be over in a hurry. West is too talented rushing the passer and in their back 7 in their secondary for it to be one-dimensional football game. Central's going to have to establish the line of scrimmage early and often, and then they're going to have to make this a shorter game. This is a West offense that can score in a hurry with big plays. So Central's got to limit the big plays, make them drive the length of the field, and they've got to establish a run game early on. But for both teams, Jesse, as a coaching staff, one coaching staff is trying to get their kids' confidence up, make sure that they flush that out of their system. The other coaching staff is trying to make sure their team isn't overconfident and think, oh, we're just going to run through these guys. So this is a really a big week for both coaching staffs to get into the heads of their players and to get them right for the sweep.
Rematch of the region championship game. We'll see who comes out ahead the second time around. Ray County and Carnes is an intriguing matchup. Both teams like to run the football and run the football a lot. Ray County, of course, coached by one of the guys that you know really well, Mark Pemberton, and that wing T. Sophomore quarterback, really dynamic, but had another sophomore tailback, well over 1,000 yards this year out of that offense. And, of course, we all know what Deshaun Bishop has done this year as he continues to chase Jalen Hurd's all-time single-season state record in TSSAA history. And Carnes got down there, put up points like we all expected, but that offense, that wing T offense, when it needs to, can really control the pace and control what happens down the stretch, especially if it's in the lead.
And we just talked about it for Maryville playing a wing T team tonight. It is impossible to simulate in practice. And for Carnes, you saw tonight defensively was a huge struggle for them, trying to simulate that, seeing it. And then Ray County has playmakers that people don't realize. This is a football team. We saw at Alcoa in week 1 that had some guys that they had home run threats. They have a sophomore quarterback who can flat out run the football, and they were physical up front. So this is a team that's very difficult to prepare for, and you saw the home runs tonight. I mean, they put up bunches of points.
And Brad Taylor, the Carnes head football coach, was our guest on the Waffle House hotline last week and even said, we haven't seen much wing T. So to try to get ready for a wing T that's in playoff form in 5 days, that's really hard to do.
Playoff form, and they're a really good football team that has won a bunch of ball games, played tough competition, as we talked about with Alcoa, very difficult, and with home run hitters. When they have guys like that wing T is really dangerous and scary to face.
But to everybody in Carnes, if you're watching this, unbelievable season, hats off, first playoff victory ever. We'll see what the stats are for Deshaun Bishop later on to see if he got over 3,000. I'm pretty sure he probably did. If they're putting up that many points tonight, he came into the game with over 2,900 yards rushing.
And for Carnes, Jesse, going back to interviewing Coach Taylor and Deshaun after their victory there against Carter, and had a lot of players that game step up, both defensively and offensively. But just hearing from Deshaun about how he wants to be the first, how he wants to bring championships to Carnes, how the group of his teammates had come together and wanted to do something special and different at Carnes. It was just really good to see that come to fruition, to get in the playoffs, win that first ever playoff game. Congratulations to them. I love seeing players want to take over a program and do the things first and represent their community and their school.
Yeah, he says it a lot. He takes pride in what's happened out there at Carnes, and he watches everybody's predictions, whether it's me, whether it's the guys on TV or in the paper or whatever. And it used to not be that way at Carnes, because why? They always got picked to lose. And now they're taking it personally. Like Michael Jordan looking at that laptop in The Last Dance, I take that personally. And so when I pick against them and they win, they let me know. And so it's a different mentality out there now.
That's a special player, a special mindset to go along with a special talent. And when that happens, you really can create something special within your community, and all the players around you step their game up to be with somebody like that. Really cool to see. I'm excited to see his future and how Carnes continues to build off this.
Yeah, he's gotten offers recently, I think, Virginia Tech offer on his birthday, maybe Michigan State. So this junior season camp, this off season in the spring will be really big for him. We'll see what other offers come his way. But nevertheless, Ray County wins tonight 63-48 over Carnes. They will travel to face Powell, who won easily tonight over McMinn County. And this Powell team, how do you see that offense, that clash of styles, Powell versus Ray County?
I think we're going to see another 50-48 type game. I don't think either defense is going to have a very good night. And the reason being is Powell has speed and talent, elite talent all over the field offensively. It's going to be hard for Ray County to match that speed in practice leading up to that week. And then for Ray County, again, so hard to simulate the wing T and having your eyes disciplined on your reads and reading your keys. It's going to be very difficult for Powell. And defensive linemen do not like getting cut and down blocked on. And Ray County is going to cut the living daylights out of Powell.
Well, that's what I was about to ask. You got Walter Nolan, defensive tackle, recently committed to Texas A&M, who thrives off of quarterback pressure. I think he's got over 30 QB pressures, over 10 sacks this year. When they can when they can run misdirections and just different things, like what's he going to be frustrated? It's just the blocking techniques?
Well, number one, there's not going to be much passing. And if it is, it's going to be screens and wheels out of the backfield, wheel routes, running backs coming out of the backfield, maybe a waggle or boot here and there, but you're not going to see a whole lot of passing. There's going to be a whole lot of rushing the passer in this football game. And what gets really frustrating for a defensive lineman, because it slows you down, is when guys are when they're on your ankles. And they're constantly jumping at your ankles. They're constantly diving at your ankles. And that's what they're going to get. They're going to get a lot of down blocks, a lot of double teams. They're going to get a lot of cut blocking. And when that happens, and then you start trying to look in the backfield and you stand up and try to find the football, that's when they get you. And it's just so deceptive. I think it's going to be a really good football game, but I think if you're a defensive enthusiast, this may be one you may not want to watch, because it could get high scoring in a hurry. And for Ray County, this is one of those type of games we talked about for Pigeon Forge. They've got to do a good job of shortening this football game and keeping Powell's offense off the field. Yep. You can't let Aiden and all those guys get loose. You can't let the quarterback get going. And they understand that. They know that's going to be more difficult for them, athlete for athlete. They're going to have to bring this game down and shorten it.
So I'm looking forward to it now that you explained it from a coaching standpoint and just about what Ray County offensively could do against that Powell defensive front. Has me really looking forward to that football game, and we'll see what happens with that next Friday night. All right, we're going to catch our final break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Loudon football coach Jeff Herrig on the Waffle House hotline. Don't go anywhere. He's coming up right after the break.
Coker Rental Company is your hometown go-to spot to rent equipment and tools. We offer fast delivery on late model, low hour, boom lifts, excavators, track skid steers, scissor lifts, and more. Coker Rental Company prides itself on great customer service and providing the best equipment and tools at a reasonable rate. Give us a call today at 865-457-1478 and let us be your go-to rental company for your next project.
Men's Grooming Studio is Knoxville's premier barbershop. Conveniently located in the center of K-Town, Tapered will have you feeling and looking your best. We offer walk-in appointments, and we specialize in haircuts for both young and old. Our master barbers will give you the best haircut you can find in a style that is unique to you. Come and see us today or check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Welcome back to 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House. As we go to the Waffle House hotline, we are joined by Jeff Herrig, head football coach at Loudon High School. Loudon wins tonight over Cannon County, 42-20. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us on the program tonight. Congratulations on another playoff win.
Thank you for that. Thanks for having me on.
Tell me a little bit about Cannon County. I just doing some research on them during the season. I noticed that not a lot of playoff history to them. I think maybe only 2 playoff victories. But what did they like to do that you saw on film that you guys really schemed up this week?
Well, they are a wing team. Big physical guys. Play extremely hard. Their coach did a good job of getting them into the playoffs. First playoff win in over 40 years. So they came here fired up, ready to play.
We've talked a lot about Wing T tonight on the program, whether it's Karn facing Ray County or what have you, or Maryville facing Westridge. And how much Wing T did you guys see this year, and how difficult is it to prepare for one?
Well, we saw one other team with some wing tendencies. It's very difficult because it's contrary to everything that the game is kind of trending towards on offense. It really forces you as a defense to be disciplined. It forces you to be physical and something else. And a team that runs this wing team is probably a very disciplined, physical team. And so if you kind of possess the ball and kind of get you out of rhythm, in other areas of the game.
Just following scores from afar tonight, it looked like you guys got up early in that game against Cannon County. What led to some big offensive success for you guys in the first half?
Well, we were able to throw the ball at will. Got a turnover on the kickoff. Scored real quick, jumped up 14-0, got a few stops. They returned the kickoff on us and got some momentum. We kind of stalled out a little bit because we had 2 catches and fumbles. So 2 turnovers led to them getting back in the game a little bit, kind of stalling our offense, and then we're able to get it cranked back up and close things out.
Your son, Keaton Herrig, has had just an unbelievable year. Got rewarded recently for being a Mr. Football semifinalist. I know you as a coach want to turn around and make it a team award, but Coach, I was typing up stats this week and had to put out a tweet just because of what Keaton has done this year. It's just been so phenomenal, and it looked like in the offseason he kind of retooled his body a little bit because he knew he's going to maybe have to run the football a little bit more. But to be sitting here going into the quarterfinals next week with over 3,000 yards, over 1,000 yards rushing, has any Loudon quarterback ever done this?
No, we honored Drew Jackson 2 years ago as a sophomore because he threw for over 1,000 and rushed for over 1,000. First player in school history to do that. And here we are, 3,000, 1,000. Somewhere around week 3 or 4, we stopped trying to have balance in our offense and really just put him in the no-back and just let him do his thing. And it's really kind of exploded a little bit, and it's really a tough matchup for him.
As far as him running the football, and did he kind of know he was going to have to take on more of that this year?
We did. As we sat down as coaches to lay out our plans for this year, we felt like some of the best teams that we played, he was going to have to be a big part of the run game. And so, we knew all along that if we were going to have success, he was going to have a Mr. Football type year. And he has done that for us.
You guys face off against Giles County in the state quarterfinals. Number one, how happy are you that you do not have to get on a bus and go to Giles County? That's a long ways away.
Wow, that's a 3.5-hour bus trip. I'm extremely happy. We won that region championship game at Kingston, but more importantly, we knew that game was for a 3.5-hour bus trip. And so to be at home is big. I think there's going to be a home field advantage, but they're an awfully good football team.
Have you been able to scout them at all, maybe kind of peek ahead, look at them on Huddle and see what they're about? I know just me doing research this week, I know they have 3 or 4 guys who can really put up some numbers on the ground.
They do. They have all the tools. They have speed. They have physicality. They're a big team. They're disciplined. They're well coached. It's a complete football team. Reminds me a lot of Red Bank over the last few years. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we haven't seen something like them, but they are definitely going to be a big test for our young team.
In terms of what they do schematically, is it? Can you put a label on it, or a label on their offense?
Yeah, I would call them a power football team. They're an old school, They don't mind getting in the eye with the fullback and the tight end. They're going to run power, run at you. They'll do some things, alignment-wise with their fullback. But at the end of the day, their fullback is going to kick, guard's going to lead through, and they're going to run the football right at you. If you can't stop them, it's going to be a long day for you.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, man, thanks so much for joining us on the program tonight. Yeah. Congratulations on that win, and best of luck to you guys next week in the third round. I know it's a big moment for the program next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Jesse.
That's Jeff Herrig, head football coach at Loudon High School, as they win tonight easily over Cannon County, take on an undefeated Giles County team in the state quarterfinals. If they win that game, they'll face off against Alcoa in the state semifinals. And I know that's something that Jeff Herrig and his program has talked about, and talked about getting back to that level. They've faced off against Alcoa in the semifinals in recent years, and they want a chance to maybe show a little bit better in that game. And what Keaton Herrig has done this year is just remarkable. And I know he'd like to have a big game as a senior against Alcoa, and they got to get past this Giles County team first. All right, let's go over one more time before we sign off tonight. All the playoff matchups for next week. We'll start in 1A. Coalfield goes all the way up to Cloudland for a state quarterfinal. In 2A, Oneida will host Hampton. In 3A, we have two games. We have Alcoa versus Pigeon Forge, Loudon versus Giles County. In 4A, just two teams left, Elizabethton taking on Greenville. In 5A, we have two games, Central High School at West and Ray County at Powell. And, of course, in 6A, Farragut High School will travel to face Maryville. And was not a good night tonight for our local Division II teams. I believe all three bowed out in the playoffs tonight. We had Kings Academy going up against USJ all the way over in West Tennessee. USJ had been the state runner-up in Division II Single A the last 2 years. They want to get back to that state championship game. They beat Kings Academy tonight 49-0. CPA was up really big on CAK. That game is not final yet, but we can pretty much go ahead and put Sharpie down for CPA. And Webb School and Knoxville battled all the way back. They were down 21-10. They came back, took a 24-21 lead late in the third quarter, but could not hold off Davidson Academy, who won 42-14. Pulling away there in the fourth quarter. Davidson Academy won the last three state championships in Division II Single A. They got reclassified into Division II AA this year, and they will face off against Lipscomb Academy and Trent Dilfer, who we had here on 5 Star Live just a couple of weeks ago after they beat Catholic 44-0. So going to go ahead and call a Lipscomb Academy win in that one, but nice win tonight for Davidson Academy over Webb. All right, that does it for the show tonight. Thanks to everybody who joined us. For Jake Roberts, wide receiver from Elizabethton, who had a big night tonight, a couple touchdown catches. For Jeff Herrig, head football coach at Loudon. Thanks to all our crew again for saving the day when I couldn't make it here until late first half tonight, and really a true team effort. So good hustle behind the camera tonight, everybody, as Ron Burgundy would say. Really liked it. All right, so that does it for the show tonight. We'll catch up with you guys next week in the state quarterfinals right here on 5 Star Live, presented by Waffle House.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
East Tennessee, the foothills of the Smokies, beautiful lakes, Friday night heroes, and one red light small towns with more life than any big city, where orange and white is displayed. Yeah, the one and only home of the Tennessee Vols, but also the home of the 134th Air Refueling Wing Volunteers. You might catch us in the beautiful skies of East Tennessee, flying the time-tested, irreplaceable, world-traveling, aerial refueling KC-135. Yeah, you heard that right. We refuel other aircraft while traveling the world at over 30,000 feet and 500 miles an hour. The amazing thing is, that's really not the 134th Air Refueling Wing's greatest strength. Our greatest strength is our airmen, our warriors, who have answered our nation's call. Guardians of freedom and justice, not only in our beautiful hills, but worldwide. They are our sentries and avengers, defending our country with their lives. They are the best of us, wingmen, leaders, and warriors. And you best believe they will never falter or fail. Flying, fighting, and winning. They are American Airmen and Tennessee Air National Guardsmen. So what are you waiting for? It's time to join the hometown team. Visit GoANG.com or call 1-800-TO-GO-ANG.
You're watching 5 Star Live.